It has been 14 days since the murder of George Floyd. Protests and riots have been progressively getting more violent and more rampant as time went on. And it seems that the goal of this insurrection is to pretty much triumph over the racism that has been placed systemically in our society for so many years. What if I told you that this protesting, however, isn't enough? In this video, I pretty much give my explanation of why we as humans need to do better. And not only that, but I also give my take on how I feel regarding the rioting and the looting that has been going on with the protesting. So now, without further ado, let's get into the video. First off, I just want to say that this channel does not revolve around politics at all. This is just something that I feel like is necessary. I was watching the news for the first time in years, and seeing people of all different ethnicities participating in the Black Lives Matter movement is pretty inspiring, to say the least. However, when the protests and the media are inundated with a bunch of gratuitous violence that would come with the looting and the rioting, not only does this damage those who are simply not responsible, the innocent people such as bystanders or small business owners, but it also pretty much tarnishes what the overall Black Lives Matter protests are trying to achieve. Visualize it like this. You have a pitcher of distilled water, and it's distilled so that we have the utmost purity, right? However, when you add any food coloring, just a small drop of it in that pitcher, it doesn't matter how much water you pour into that pitcher to compensate for it. The purity of that general image is forever tainted. So now we ask ourselves, how can we transcend this? How can we be better? How can we make a difference that is not only heard, but brings more benevolence amongst us people? The answer is ultimately encapsulated by one word and one word only: empathy. Aside from empathy, the first step to overcoming racism is to realize that racism is akin to an addiction. I realize that racism is pretty much analogous with addiction because the way how some people fall into the compulsive indulgence of particular drugs or any other addiction that they have, the way how they compulsively indulge in that department is also related to how some people just have this subliminal disdain for people of particular social groups, purely based on the color of their own skin. Now, in a physiological sense, what is an addiction exactly? An addiction is a neurological pathway that is so difficult to suppress or overcome because it has been potent for so long. By the looks of it, racism is no different. Based on my observations, it is apparent that these protests are attempting to suppress the racism that has been embedded within our society, and I realize that this attempt to suppress racism is similar to the bare bones advice that's given to us from the ad council or through any of the advertisements that we were given in high school that pretty much revolve around suppressing an addiction as opposed to actually solving that addiction at hand. We're told if you have a smoking addiction, stop smoking. If you're an alcoholic, stop drinking. If you have a porn addiction, stop looking at porn. It's that simple, right? Well, here's the thing. With a mentality like this, I'll give you 2 weeks. And that's being generous. 2 weeks before you revert to those same toxic habits that were holding you back for so long. Based on scientific research, the only way to truly get rid of this addiction is to transmute the potency of that neurological pathway into other pathways that would bring more beneficial qualities to you physically, socially, emotionally, and mentally. Once again, racism is no different. As mentioned before, empathy is the key to eradicating racism. Now let's elaborate. As previously stated, xenophobia is akin to addictive personalities in that the only way to truly get rid of it is to install other tendencies into your daily life. In this case, empathy is the ideal vessel that must be used to take this corrosive malice that is racism and transfigure that into altruism and general compassion for other people. Now here's another thought that I had. When certain people look at others, they feel this subliminal need to antagonize them purely based on the notions that they don't agree with them, they don't like them, they don't relate to them, etc. I'll also add that this tendency isn't exclusive to race, as it also applies to social, economics, sexual orientation, gender, religious preferences, etc. How do we fix this problem exactly? I came to the realization that the answer to this problem is actually pretty simple. The way you solve this problem is to simply flip that perception around. Instead of saying, they don't agree with me, they don't like me, stuff like that, flip it around and say, I don't agree with them. I don't like them. I don't relate to them. And then instead of just simply taking those flipped statements at face value, ask yourself why you feel those statements are valid. In the topic of racism, one would probably say, I don't look like them, or they don't look like me. What needs to be done in this case is take the perspective of I don't look like them and intertwine that with I don't agree with them, or I don't like them, or I simply can't relate to them. And then once you intertwine those with each other, you will inevitably have more compassion for the other person, and you will be more curious about this other person as a result. Therefore, you will feel more compelled to have a conversation with this other person, and only then can we truly understand each other. In other words, what used to be this corrosive malice is now transfigured into benevolence and peace. We may not live to see the day when racism, prejudice, and general violence die, but what we can do is make sure that day comes as soon as possible. I'm not going to ask you to like this video, nor will I ask you to subscribe, but what I will implore you to do is please give your commentary down below in the comment section and spread this video to as many people as you can. I really want to make sure that this message is heard. I'm going to be honest with you all, this video was really hard to make. This has been a really difficult subject to talk about given the times that we're going through, but at the same time, I've been having these thoughts to myself that I've been generating over the past couple of weeks, and I feel that I really need to share them with the rest of the world, because if I don't do that, not only would this be a great mistake, but it would simply just be irresponsible on my part. Overall, I've really just been struggling with how I'm able to contribute to this general movement, and I feel like a really good way to do that is to simply make this video. So consider this statement my contribution. Once again, please don't expect more content like this on a regular basis for this channel. I just feel like this is a message that I really wanted to get out there. So perhaps for your contribution, let's just have a conversation about this, and please just get this video out there. Share it to your friends, share it with your family. Please just allow this message to spread. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I really appreciate it. Keep on traveling, keep wandering. I love you all, seriously. I really do. I love you all. And until next time, have a good day.